Welcome to the closing session of the Rural Futures Conference. I'm here to announce the winners of our various contests. I'm Rachel Herpel with the Rural Futures Institute, and I have a joint appointment with the Robert B. Doherty Water for Food Institute at the University of Nebraska. So I'm going to start. We have, if you weren't here for the poster session last night, we had two competitions, one for the undergraduates and one for the graduate students. And it was a really great session. Really appreciate all the volunteers who helped put the session together as far as the physical setup, and all of the judges that participated and helped us evaluate the posters. It was a really great session, and I really cannot do it without the help of all those folks. So I just wanted those folks to know they're very much appreciated. And this is a first for me. I've been doing poster competitions kind of as a sideline specialty, funny enough. And this is the first time we have a first place tie. And usually I was like, oh no, we can't have a tie. But in this case, I was very much pleased to have a first place tie in the undergraduate student poster competition. So at first place, and this is for a prize of $750, is Michael Lekowitz from UNK. Yes, and please know we'll send you certificates and work out the money after the conference is over. So just hang tight. So UNK and Actus teams revitalize rural revitalization poster. It was Michael's poster. And also in first place, Heather Tomasek from UNL. Her poster is Building Community Capacity through a 15-week interdisciplinary service learning studio in rural Nebraska and lessons learned. So those are our first place posters. And then in how it works out, we give a third place to Jordan Lechtenberg and Sydney Hansen for their poster on Holdridge, Nebraska Marketing Project from UNL. So good job. And then we have quite a few honorable mentions, and so I'll just give the name and the college or university they represent. Allie Busing, Lindsay Toman, and Preston Sonnenberg from Peru State College. Nemaha County welcomes the chance. Honorable mention. Morgan Netz, Bethany Blackburn from UNL. How can a community create awareness among high school students about the entrepreneurial opportunities that are available in a rural community? Very good. And Stephanie Perez Zemaripa from UNK. Ethnic and racial diversity, a detriment to social capital and community improvement in Nebraskan communities. So all those are honorable mention for the undergraduates. Very good. For the graduate student poster competition, we have a first place there for Amanda Witt with the UNL Nebraska Center for Research on Children, Youth, Families, and Schools, which I will call CYFS from here on. And her poster was the impact of teacher motivation for intervention on rural student behavior outcomes. Very good. Second place was for Shannon Holmes, and her poster, she's with CYFS also, supporting family school partnerships in rural communities, preliminary results of a randomized trial. And then we have a shared, very good, a shared third place with Tyler Smith with CYFS. His poster, Quantitative Synthesis of Family Engagement Interventions, a Preliminary Examination in Rural Context. And Michael Kautz, I believe, with CYFS, providing specialized services to rural educators. So we had a lot of posters from CYFS, and they were very good, obviously. So good for them. We also have honorable mentions, and I'll just go through these really quick. Stephanie Sands from UNO, Mary Helwige from CYFS, Victoria Kennel from UNO, Amanda Moen from CYFS, and Andrew Fritz and Elliot Meader from University of Missouri. So congratulations to all the graduate student poster competition. And last but definitely not least, you all participated, or if you were here yesterday afternoon, you saw the quick pitch contest, and so we have winners for that as well. How we did it was we had the two podiums going, and so the judges judged each podium. And so for podium one, the winner of that was the Agrarian Freedom Project. Katie Micklejohn is the winner there. And then in second place, Discovering Hidden Treasures, Qualified Teachers in Your Backyard by Wendy McCarty from UNK. So congratulations, Wendy. And I'll flip that, do the second place and then the first place for on podium 2. The Big Question Challenge, Jordan Lechtenberg and Matt Haybrock. Second place on that one. Pretty quick pitch. Out there. And then Jumpstart New Farmers with Philanthropy, Bob Stoll for podium 2. And then there were quite a few of you that ripped out a page of your program and voted for the viewer's choice of the quick pitch contest, and that goes to Katie Micklejohn for Agrarian Freedom Project. So twice awarded there for her. So this was a fun part of the conference, and really want to recognize all the hard work and contributions made to all the contest participants. We really appreciate your efforts. So with that, we like to close the conference. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of videotaping and a lot of media going on throughout the conference, and so we have this. If you weren't able to attend the whole thing and just saw bits and pieces, here's a summary video of the conference this year.
Well, good morning. Welcome. I'm J.B. Milliken. I'm the president of the University of Nebraska. I want to welcome you to the second annual Rural Futures Conference. I have been a champion and a believer in what I believe this institute is becoming for some time. But I know that many of us have felt that we have not realized the full potential. We knew we were talking about something big, something ambitious, something a little risky. But as I said at the conference last year, and I continue to believe, that's what makes this worth doing.
And so Beyond Boundaries is a very important message to be sent.
What we are doing with the Rural Futures Institute over the last year or two is to take those initial steps.
To not be limited by your experiences or
we've got to not allow ourselves to be constrained by boundaries.
I think Beyond Boundaries really talks about looking beyond our immediate community to say, how do we connect with other communities? How do we use their assets, connect with new assets, and help move our collective communities forward?
Oh, in this town where I grew up, you can watch the sunrise from the roof of any home.
So as I come to the Rural Futures Institute, I guess I have been so intrigued with the Moving Beyond Boundaries theme here. This is the most remarkable effort to help rural people in places that perhaps has ever been done, certainly in my lifetime.
That's a loaded question. I don't know my big idea.
My big idea for rural America, I guess, is finding a way that we get youth involved.
A big idea for rural communities would be to take a look at themselves as what do we have to offer that really is unique and makes ourselves stand out.
My big idea of rural America is to level the playing field. We work in a very globalized economy today, and to be able to start building the infrastructure and developing our workforce and developing everything we need to be competitive with India and China.
Integrate young adults and future leaders. And
the future of rural America is all with us.
Like explaining what the cloud is to people is like trying to explain to them how, it's harder than how a combine runs, and a combine is a huge, complicated machine.
I think the big idea for the rural America is basically capitalize on their assets.
The use of the resources in a sustainable fashion that will support our needs long term.
It's about reimagining rural. So not saying it has to go on the same trajectory or path as it has done.
I don't know if that's a big idea. I want rural America to continue to be able to provide the values, the place to live, the lifestyle, the things that I've had throughout my life. From a family standpoint, from a community standpoint, from an education standpoint, I want that to continue to be there for my children, my grandchildren, and forever. And that's what I would hope.
This will sound perhaps quaint to you, but I can't think of anything more important to the future of the United States than finding a way to reinvigorate rural America. I think you need to put the culture back in agriculture. If you will restore the culture to agriculture, you will find that people come back to rural life.
My aha.
Definitely putting the culture in agriculture. That really hit home.
The thing that's really encouraging to me is just all the enthusiasm.
That really energizes me to want to do more.
Learning about the grants this morning was really great. That was kind of really when my brain was going, and I was all over on social media at the same time, seeing what people were doing and connecting. And
The way the RFI Institute is really pushing people to come up with creative new ideas about how we take this initiative forward.
I think one of the aha moments that I had was the importance of leaders in the rural communities.
Bringing back professionals to your community and how you go about recruiting them.
It's a vast array of people from around the country and around the world who are interested in the Rural Futures Institute concept.
How my generation lives through technology, because that's our community.
Reverse mentoring.
5.2 billion cell phones. I mean, that was a shocker. I need a new one. I don't have one that works.
Well, the speaker touching base on patterns, how we mentally prepare ourselves to react to certain situations.
The morph matrix?
I think it's been the focus on young people and the energy that they bring.
Oftentimes, particularly I think in rural communities, there's a poverty of spirit among the communities, and attending a conference like this provides a sense of hope.
If I were to ask you to give me one word, just one word, not a sentence, not a phrase, not a paragraph, I don't want a thesis on this, just one word.
One word for community.
all right, what does community mean to me?
To me, community means belonging.
People who are connected at the heart.
There's just something about it that when you go there, everyone welcomes you with the greatest open heart, and they really bring you into the community like you're one of their own.
We love.
Leadership for the future is what's going to make a great community.
To me, a community really is not a place, it's people. And people are relationships.
The relationship of family, the relationship of friends, the relationship of work.
Community is just people who share bonds and common interests, common bonds, common interests.
So a community could be a city, a community could be a 4-H club, a community could be any gathering of people who have a common shared interest and passion.
Community is about people, and great communities are about people who are really committed to something that's really special.
Connections.
The nature of community has changed. You don't need to meet the person to be part of that community. You can have a community of interest that stretches everywhere.
People pulling together.
Community is the whole idea of lots and lots of people rowing in the same direction and coming up with outcomes that individually they can never get to.
There's definitely a need for all of us to respect each other's views wherever we come from.
The word in my mind, and it has been the word that has most driven progress over the entirety of mankind's existence, is connections. And it is the connections that lead to community. You see, much of what I hear when I hear you talk about your mission and your objectives and your ambitions is this intent to take the core values that reside in rural America and to somehow reinforce their validity in modern society and in the future. And you know what? They will be more valid, more important, more meaningful, more critical going forward than they have been looking backwards. When we talk about rural, we're talking about a global issue that we need to impact. And part of what you're doing is building a future that will impact that global rural challenge. And that's what excites me. That's what excites me.
What excites me most about rural America is the evidence that people who live in more metropolitan places are becoming more and more interested in exploring the possibility of moving to or returning to rural places.
And the increased attention that has been given to high-quality education.
We need to network beyond just your community, but again, the neighboring, stepping beyond the boundaries.
The ability to make an impact.
The thing that excites me most is each different rural community has its own little culture.
I'm a very creative person, and it allows you to be creative.
It's the kind of place that you can create your own reality, which is really important. So if you want to change something, it doesn't take 10 years and a bunch of committee meetings. You can just find a few people to make it happen.
That people care about people.
The people.
The people, the possibilities.
The comfort, the way of life.
That's home.
Not so much hustle and bustle as you might see in big metropolitan areas.
You don't have traffic lights everywhere. You get to see the stars at night. That's beautiful.
The thing that has allowed us to sustain over time is the ability to make connections, and the ability to make connections that actually build community. How can you push yourself to make a connection where you're really building trust? This idea that sort of creativity happens when a lone genius sits in their lab or at their easel is really kind of overblown. And it's much more happens when groups of people get together and actually share their hunches. Like when someone's sort of half-baked idea connects with someone else's half-baked idea or a group of people's half-baked idea, that's where the real innovations come from. The quick pictures certainly modeled this for us. I mean, it's really hard to come up here in front of all these people and say, hey, I've got this thing and I want other people to be excited about it. And if any of you heard anything that a little bit sparks something inside, I really would encourage you to go and seek out the people who shared that.
I think there needs to be a concentrated effort to be able to take the energy and the excitement from conversations that happen here at the conference and to be able to continue those in a meaningful, ongoing manner so that there's actually some opportunities for action around the collaborations as opposed to just ideas.
I think collaboration is key for the future of rural America.
I think collaboration is central to rural communities.
About bringing different perspectives and ideas together, because no one person or no one institute has the full understanding of what faces rural in terms of the opportunities and the challenges.
It's bringing in all the capital, and I'll call that brain capital, that's out there and putting it together to help develop ideas that can make our community move forward and get to where we want to in various areas.
There's no longer any leaders and followers. There's leaders and collaborators.
The more and more I see people, the more I find out we're actually more connected than I might realize throughout the state.
There's something unique that's happening here with this Rural Futures Institute concept that has not been done before anywhere on the earth, and that a lot of people are hoping succeeds because they think it has the potential to make contributions to the quality of rural community life, not only in this part of America, but throughout the world.
There we go. And how much do you see of me from here?
Look, I can follow directions.
Well, good. I'm so glad.
My aha moment was getting to do this video so far, I guess.
I just got here.
Oh, there I am. Hello.
And it's got even bright lights.
I'm getting so excited.
I'm looking good there.
All right. Neck up, look a little clearer.
Should I take off the glasses? Does that make any difference?
I am ready.
That's me.
What a deal.
As long as you can edit.
You want me looking at the camera?
I don't have any food in my teeth, do I?
Glad I wear my tall shoes today for you.
That's a fun green light.
What's going to be behind me is a better question.
What kind of fun things are you going to put behind him on the green screen?
So I don't know what you're going to put back there, right?
What are you putting behind me? Mountains?
Yeah, I'd probably put a herd of buffalo behind me, I understand.
I'm glad you're going to edit. I don't think so.
It's a perfect question.
Don't ask me any tough questions.
That's a loaded question.
Great question, actually.
That's the $1 million question.
Can I just think for a moment? When you ask me something and I go, just cut that bit. Is that a deal? Do you promise that?
I have no idea.
I see a whiteboard.
Oh, I didn't spell it right.
How much time do I have?
Connection.
So if I mess up, is it going to be edited or?
This is where you cut.
Just not tall.
I hope this one doesn't end up on the blooper reel.
You must cut that. Don't have me laughing.
Please don't use any of it.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
Sorry, can you start that again? No.
Okay, that was too much fun. Listen, I've already been instructed to tell those of you that had posters in the contest, please be sure and pick those up at the registration table before you leave so that our folks don't have to drag them all back over to campus. Listen, we've had 2 terrific days here of engagement, of sharing, of learning, of challenging barriers, and of joining forces. President Jefferson, if I can paraphrase a little bit, said, in order for us to achieve unexpected results, we're going to have to employ both our hearts and our heads. Well, if I've observed one thing over the last 2 days, it is certainly that we have, in spite of our diversity, joined our hearts in the notion that strengthening rural people and rural places is a worthwhile endeavor. So we are now challenged to use our heads to make that happen. So to quote our young folks on the panel this morning, go have coffee and get her done.